Of all renowned series, Mission Impossible is definitely the most accurately named movie of all time. Actors on the show have verbalized getting the most harrowing experience from working with the franchise. The drills, demands, and expectations are almost impossible, requiring only the daring. If you're looking to get featured on the franchise in any capacity whatsoever, be ready to be shaken, stretched, and stressed. Notably, experienced actors face challenges too, one of which is Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill has definitely played a good number of interesting roles, one of which was in the amazing Enola Holmes franchise, where he was featured as Millie Bobby Brown's brother, Sherlock Holmes. Cavill has participated in so many high-ranked movies, in which includes the new Superman adventures that are yet to be released. These roles are so interesting that it's hard to not wonder if he ever experiences dull moments on set. However, as if the universe was waiting for him to have a full before shaking him up, Cavill did report a hitch in filming. It was probably the first of such experiences, otherwise the worst of all. It so happened that in a press tour for Enola Holmes 2, Cavill was quibbled to speak about his experience in Fallout, the sixth entry of Christopher McQuarrie's Mission Impossible. Cavill was asked by Steve Weintraub to discuss his toughest shot, and to our surprise, Mission Impossible 6 was echoed. Star actor Henry Cavill mentioned that filming a particular scene from the peak of Mission Impossible, Fallout, was the most difficult thing he had done in his entire acting career. Fallout was released in 2018 and is the sixth film in the Mission Impossible franchise, which started way back in 1996. The movie was directed by Christopher McQuarrie and includes Ethan Hunt starring as Tom Cruise as he tries to prevent John Lark, a terrorist, from causing destruction with a nuclear weapon. Characters such as Simon Pegg and Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames, and Sean Harris were brought back on set to continue their amazing work, even as new actors were brought on board. Among these new actors was Henry Cavill, who starred as August Walker, a rash and deadly CIA assassin who at first posed to be on Hunt's side as regards catching Lark and protecting the nuclear weapon. In an unexpected turn, however, Walker turned out to be Lark himself, setting him into a feud with Hunt. After several chases, rundowns, hits and misses, Hunt and Lark finally had a face-off in the third act. This took place in the region of Kashmir. Fallout ended gloriously, with Lark dying after an intense helicopter chase, where Hunt and his team were able to successfully prevent the nuclear detonation by a hair's breadth. Although this sounds like an adventure, it was not pleasant to portray, seeing that the franchise emphasized realness. Cavill explained that the movie was filmed mostly practically, with the cold winter temperatures making life particularly unbearable while flying in a helicopter with the doors ajar. Mission Impossible is famous for the death-defying stunts performed mostly by the lead actor along with his peers. With all these, it is quite easy to understand why Cavill mentioned Mission Impossible when asked about the difficulties he has experienced as an actor. In the said interview, Cavill spoke for long about the unpleasant yet profiting scene. Although it was a trying sequence to film, Cavill showed regrets. The helicopter scene described by Cavill as an enduring time is just one out of the many daring stunts pulled in Mission Impossible Fallout. In the same movie, Cruise and Cavill jumped from a plane over Paris and landed in a bathroom, continuing their fist fight, which extended to a hot chase in the streets of France. On and throughout the movie, dangerous stunts were pulled off, which others would have pointed out to be the more difficult scenes to cover than the helicopter scene described by Cavill. The particular scene Cavill described as difficult occurred at the climax of the movie, with Tom Cruise flying a helicopter himself and Cavill falling off the cliff. It remains memorable to fans as well as to actors. While Lark, Cavill's character, might have died in the movie, the spy technology in the franchise shows that fans may not have seen the last of Lark just yet. In the movie, it is possible to make highly realistic masks to impersonate anyone. In the final series of the franchise, fans should be expectant because anything can happen. Cavill may return as someone who is assuming the late Lark's identity. Worthy of note is that in almost 30 years of filming, the Mission Impossible franchise has engaged a good number of outstanding villains. Yet Cavill's portrayal of Lark in Fallout has proven to be the best so far. Not only is the character cunning with a clear goal, but also Cavill's physique makes him even more of a threat. With Tom Cruise apparently physically outmatched watched for the first time in the series, Fallout is notably the best and most memorable in the franchise. And if a new villain is brought to replace Cavill, the new actor will resume under a lot of pressure to perform, while the director will have a lot of work on his hands. This is not surprising because Fallout is the greatest Mission Impossible series by no small measure. Apart from the introduction of new talents and amazing stunt witnessed, Fallout has proved to be an exception to one of the franchise's characteristic problems, an unpleasant, normal, hopefully resolving it forever. Tom Cruise's action spy Mission Impossible shares a lot of similarities with James Bond's franchise, one of which is constantly pairing Ethan Hunt up with a new female agent who ends up being a love interest. In Mission Impossible, however, fans have continually been disappointed by the unannounced single appearances of the lead character and unsolicited change of the female agent, as great female leads in the previous series are completely ignored in following releases. This has made new missions unappealing to fans. The very first female lead featured in the movie was Emmanuel Bart Phelps. However, she died in 1996, leading to an abrupt end to her term with the franchise. This meant a new actress had to be brought on board, but it did not stop there. Thandie Newton took Phelps' place in Mission Impossible 2 and was replaced by Michelle Monaghan for the third sequence. She acted so well that it was believed she would be retained. Contrary to expectations, when the fourth sequence was due, Paula Patton was called upon until she was replaced by Rebecca Ferguson for the fourth series. Based on the pitiable treatment the female characters have received in the past, there was no guarantee for the return of Rebecca Ferguson. But to our utmost surprise, instead of Rebecca Ferguson being cast aside after a single appearance like her predecessors, Mission Impossible Fallout broke the curse by bringing her back. Just like that, she has set a record. Ferguson became an even more important character in the sequel, as Christopher McQuarrie used the sequel to explore her relationship with Ethan further. This move was a smart one, especially since the show stealing work Rebecca Ferguson turned in with Rogue Nation. Also, it has helped to create a more solid story. Now that the franchise's female lead return problem, only more good developments are expected from the franchise. Gratefully, we have been seeing such. The franchise has opened the gateway for other past female leads to return to the series to play in one capacity or the other. With the start of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, it has been confirmed that Rebecca Ferguson will continue in her role. There are also speculations that Hayley Atwell's mystery character will appear in the series. While fans are still rejoicing about the recent happenings in the series, bad news like a thick fart in a well-ventilated room was released. Rumors have been going around that hint at the termination of Tom Cruise's time with the series after the 8th sequence. Bringing the old ladies back would work a great deal in refreshing the series. Maggie Q has confirmed that she's been asked to return on several accounts but has not been able to because the filming did not work with her schedule. Paula Patton was also nearly brought back for Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, but it didn't work out as well. As for Thandie Newton, there is a high chance of her never returning to Mission Impossible, considering she did not have a good experience filming Mission Impossible 2, but since others like Paula Patton and Maggie Q nearly returned before, there is hope that these past Mission Impossible female leads will be back in Homecoming. In case you're wondering what The Dead Reckoning is about, the Mission Impossible film series is ready to return to the theater after a 5-year holiday. They are returning bigger and better with a final story that cuts across 2 movies, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 1 and 2. Part 1 premieres in July 2023, while Part 2 will hit the theaters in June 2024. Once again, the movies are written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie and ascertains the return of cast members Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, and Henry Czerny. All that said, Mission Impossible remains viewers' first choice and expectations are up for the next releases. Let us know what you think about this in the comments. See you next time.